Hi guys, Michael McJunkin here, and today I'm going to be aloud reading aloud another story from the Pixar storybook collection. Today's story will be Night Lights from Up. So, let us begin. Night Lights from Pixar's Up. I see one! I see one! Pull over, Mr. Fredrickson, Russell said. Carl swerved the station wagon to the other side of the road. Is it a squirrel? Asked Doug as he jumped out of the car. Even better, said Russell. According to the Wilderness Explorer Guide to Flora and Fauna, it's a Japanese morning glory. They were headed to the Sylvan State Park to earn Russell's Better Botanist badge, his first as a senior wilderness explorer. All he had to do was find and identify 10 varieties of wildflower. Only 9 more to go, he said as he took a photo of the flower. We better get moving then, Carl said. As they drove, Russell looked at the flowers in this field guide. Wow, this book has everything in it, he said. It has sunflowers, it has butterfly milkweed, it has purple wisteria. Does it have a ghost crocus? Asked Carl with a sly smile. A what? Asked Russell. A ghost crocus, said Carl. It's a legendary flower that blooms only at night. Pale as the moon, glows in the dark, with 6 silver petals and stars on its stamens. Brave explorers have looked for it for centuries. Most people don't think it exists, but Ellie swore she saw one once at the very park we're going to. Wow, said Russell. Then he frowned. I don't see it in the field guide. Like I said, most people don't think it exists, said Carl. When they reached the park, it was already mid-morning. It took a while to find their campsite and set up their tents. By the time they were ready to hike, it was midday. They spent the day searching for flowers in Russell's guide. By the time the sun was setting, they had found 10 varieties of wildflower, but Russell couldn't stop thinking about the ghost crocus. Please, Mr. Fredrickson, said Russell as they walked back to the campsite, can we look for our ghost crocus? Sorry, said Carl. It's getting late. We have to get back to camp before dark. That night they sang beside the campfire and told each other ghost stories. And then they looked at the constellations. All right, it's getting late. It's getting very late. It's time for bed, Carl said, opening his tent. He had forgotten all about the ghost crocus. But Russell didn't. He couldn't sleep knowing that there was another flower he could find and identify. Hiking at night might be dangerous for a junior wilderness explorer, but Russell was a senior wilderness explorer. He knew he could handle it. Let's go, Doug, he whispered. We're going to go fetch something. I want to go fetch something. I love fetching, said Doug. The woods were a lot darker than Russell had expected. Maybe Mr. Fredrickson was right. It was getting very late. But then he spotted a soft glow. It seemed to be coming from the back of a cave. What he didn't see was a steep drop. Too late, he stumbled down into the mouth of the cave. Oh no, are you okay? Said Doug. Doug didn't hear a response from the cave, so he ran back to the campsite. Carl woke to a wet tongue licking his face. It is time to get up. We were out in the dark looking for the ghost flower, and then the small mailman fell into the cave. What? Said Carl. Quick, lead me to him, cried Carl. So they led her. Down in the cave, everything was dark. At first, Russell felt alone and afraid. But then he remembered. He was a senior wilderness explorer. I can handle this, he said to himself. He stood up and saw a glimmer of light. It was coming from around the corner. Russell! Someone called. It was Carl. He had tied the rope to the tree and was lowering himself down into the cave. Look! Cried Doug happily. I have found help! I'm sorry, Russell, said Carl. I shouldn't have told you that story about the ghost crocus. Honestly, I never believed it myself. Ellie always had a great imagination. Well, I found something anyway, said Russell with a sly smile. Well, I'll be, said Carl. Ho ho. The next morning, Russell, Doug, and Carl picked up their things and headed back home. The wilderness explorers are going to be so excited that I found all the wildflowers plus one, Russell chatted away in the back seat. Thank you, Ellie, whispered Carl with a smile. The end. Well, folks, thanks for giving my read aloud a watch. So, what did you think? Be sure to let me know. Did you enjoy it? I'll be right back for another read aloud, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.